Hey guys, Ben and Chris here again from Too Much Luggage. We're back in Seattle after our 8-day cruise to Alaska. We had a great time. Hopefully you've seen some of those videos. If not, please go back and watch some of them. But today in Seattle, before we take off to go home, we're gonna go take the underground tour. Ooh, exciting.
Ooh, scary.
So stay with us and check it out.
Good morning from Seattle.
Hey guys, today we're back in Seattle after our 8-day Alaskan cruise. And before we fly home today, we're gonna go check out what's called the underground tour. You go check out the underside of Seattle. I guess it's a lot of history and a lot of really neat things. A bunch of people have told us that we have to go do it. You excited?
If you come to Seattle, bring a jacket with you so you don't have to take Ben's jacket like I did, but I'm good now.
All right guys, stay with us and let's watch and check out the underground tour. So this is the tour we're gonna take beneath the streets. It's $25 a person, and we're gonna go check it out. Seems like a cool thing. It's $25 for adults, $15 for children, and 22 seniors. Small groups, 4.5 stars on TripAdvisor. And it is down in the underground. Some of the artifacts I found in the underground here. Pictures of a fire, devastation it left. So it used to be just almost like a little tent town, and it burnt all down, and they just put planks right over the top of it. I think it's going to be a really interesting tour. And they do a little presentation here before starting on your tour. Did you find a seat at the speakeasy?
I got my tequila.
Uh-huh.
So significant water came in. You needed a boat to get around at high tide in many places. And then the tides went out and the streets were mud, often very wet. I don't know if you've heard the rumors, but it rains here a lot. That is true.
We're in the basement, and those are windows.
And try to position yourself so you can see these pictures here. These are helpful. So pre-fire, everything was wood. Post-fire, everything had to be stone or brick. One fire was enough.
So the tour guide was saying that the exterior walls hold up the streets, and these Roman arches here are the sidewalks connecting all the buildings to all the streets. And the underground is more like walking passageways around the buildings that you could use before they finished the second floor and basically raised up the street level. So all of this under the sidewalks are the walking tunnels in the underground, and then the main roadways were filled in with protective walls and fill dirt. So all of this that we're walking here is actually the second floor of all of these buildings. Sort of a really neat history, huh?
Yes, it's interesting.
Oh, who's this? So we're gonna learn about this statue now.
This is who our city is named after. We are the largest U.S. city named after a...
This is what the city's been named by. Chief Seattle.
So this building here was the old lumber mill, and the way Seattle used to be, you could dock your boat right there and load it full of lumber, and that's what gave Seattle such an advantage in the lumber industry. It's because they could simply do it better than anybody else. And this whole area here would have been considered the red light district. Bars and brothels and gambling halls and
prostitutes
of course,
in
yeah.
1897.
And they said that maybe upwards of 80% of the city's budget back then came from these
Casinos?
Casinos and vices, brothels and gambling halls. So if you've noticed, a lot of the fancy buildings have the same sort of architecture, and that's because when they rebuilt the city, one architect is responsible for the design of, what'd you say, 58 of the buildings in this area. And because the city was rebuilt so quickly, the style was popular for the entire rebuild period. And so this part of the city has a very unified look, and it really does. It reminds you of like an older East Coast city.
And this is the first place in the Pioneer Square. When they rebuilt it. This is the start of the city.
So here's another one of those buildings with the same arched doorways and the rough sandstone blocks. And after he was done designing this part of the city, he basically retired from architecture. This is another one of those building skylights here for the underground. They used to be the windows.
In the front is Waterfall Garden Park. On the left.
Okay. Yeah. So we're going in to this building here somewhere.
On this street, we might see rats.
Alright, here we go. Back into the secret door entrance, back into the underground. So this was inside one of the more modern buildings on the first floor, and this is the exit from the building into the walk spaces under the sidewalks. Oh, it's all brick over here.
And watch the edge right there.
These actually used to be original storefronts on the first floor for the street was raised up higher.
That's when we saw a lot of the above ground, below ground split. It was often the same proprietor with a legal and illegal establishment, both operating at the same time. But not only were people drinking illegal liquor down here, Pioneer Square was a major distribution point for illegal liquor for the entire state.
And then over here, you can see this false wall that they built, where they would store illegal things inside of, like alcohol or whatever else they were moving around. For money. This was used for all sorts of illegal activities all the way up until the 1970s, when the FBI came in and busted up the police who were accepting bribes to keep all the illegal activities just running. FBI is never any fun, are they? That's what I'm saying.
Right now they are doing legal.
So now there's no illegal business being operated down here as far as they know. So we walk through to the other side of the building. These are more of the original exterior walls on the first floor. As you can see, they've put shelves in here opposed to windows or doors.
Up the stairs and out the door, I'm going to meet you up on Jackson Street.
And this will lead us back out the underground here. So you just saw those big shelves that were windows, and those are right underneath us right now. Which used to be or is still the first story, but we are on the second story now. So this building here was one of the first ones rebuilt after the fire at Pioneer Square. You can see the retaining walls for the streets right here, the original brickwork and limestone. You head into the walkway space underneath the sidewalks. Look at the size of those beams.
So over here, we do have some photographs of the sluicing. So these are the water cannons. The idea with those really was to create controlled artificial landslides. We're naturally prone to slides here. We don't have a lot of stone in the hills above downtown. It's glacial till and clay.
It's crazy the size of these beams. With just one solid hunk of wood. To get beams these size, you'd need trees 500 years old or older, so they're just simply can't even be done anymore. Here we're under the sidewalks again, and you can tell because you have these Roman arch roofs or ceilings holding up the sidewalks above our heads.
So strange how all of them have like arch. Everything is building like around.
Yeah, it's to help with the support holding up all the weight over our heads. Of course, that's one of the retaining walls for the streets right there. And this enters back into the building on the original first floor. So we just finished up our underground tour. Chris hasn't even taken her mask off yet. What did you think of the tour, baby? Sort of interesting?
Very interesting. We learned all the history about this city, and now we're gonna go exploring. I like this little street here. It's so good how and everything is made of bricks.
Right, because after the rebuild and the fire, everything had to be made out of stone or brick.
All of them, they have like a round.
Yeah, just the architectural style, because a lot of these buildings were designed by the same guy. And then just to know that all the sidewalks in this part of town are all hollow underneath you. As you can see, here's one where they're still operating a business out of the first floor called the Rabbit Hole. I'm guessing that's a bar. So I guess now as we move around Seattle, I'm going to keep looking for ways to get to the underground to the first story.
Now we're on the first street in Maine. And I want to go first.
We're going to go check something else out here before we get headed home later today. Now as I walk around Seattle, the only thing I can see is these entrances down to the original first floor.
Underground.
Into the underground. You can see them all over now. Like, that's probably an old window that was bricked up. Sort of interesting. Doing a lot of work down here. They're rebuilding the entire cruise ship terminal, or actually, sorry, the ferry boat terminal here on the waterfront in Seattle. A bunch of these buildings are under reconstruction, trying to fix up the old buildings. They were saying they were doing some renovations on one of the bars in the underground area on the first floor, and they found a skeletal remain of a 16-year-old girl with no head. So you can definitely tell that back in the day in the 1900s, I think they said that they dated her death to 1916. This was a really rough and tumble town. Here we are on Alaskan Way in Madison. This is sort of the start of the Fisherman's Wharf area. So this is Pier 54. And as you work your way down, you get closer to Pike's Place Market. I think we're gonna go see what we can find for a little bit of lunch here. Well, we tried to go to the Smith Tower, but it was closed for our private event, which is unfortunate. It's a beautiful day here in Seattle, so we're just gonna keep walking around the Pioneer Square, Pike's Place Market area. We still have about 2 hours to kill before our flight.
2 hours to eat.
Yeah, we gotta still go find something to eat. It's sort of interesting though, now that we know some of the history of Seattle and the underground, and now you start seeing all the clues everywhere for the fact that street level is actually like a second-story floor. Right here, they're rebuilding a new ferry terminal to go to all the little islands out there. I hardly know any of their names, but...
While in Seattle, we have to have the clam chowder bowl. And I can open it. And shrimp soup, French fries with the sickles.
This is Ivar's. It's a famous fish bar. It's been here since the 30s. We ate her earlier for lunch. Pretty good?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Chris wasn't impressed with the clam chowder. It was too smoky for her, but I liked it.
I like the shrimp and the fries.
Yeah, the jumbo shrimp were really good. And as you keep making your way north towards this Space Needle, we're getting closer to Pike's Place Market here. So here we are, sort of in the Pike's Place Market area. Giant Ferris wheel back here. Pier 57 is what this area is called. Lots of shops and restaurants here. Lots of dining options. Even petty cars if you feel like getting hauled around. We're going to walk back here and go check out the Ferris wheel. And there's a carousel back here too. Oh, there you go. I'm not excited. So this building is Miner's Landing. That's the entrance, bunch of restaurants inside. The outside, what is that? Wings over Washington, a flying ride. Alright, so there's a couple of different amusement rides here. Are you gonna get in line, babe? Buy tickets online. The Fisherman's Restaurant. Let's see here. There's the Seattle Great Wheel, which is $16. Wings over Washington, $17. Salish Sea Tours, which is like a boat ride. I'm not sure where it goes. That's $30. Here we are, the Seattle Great Wheel. We're gonna take a little Ferris wheel ride around just for fun. Are you excited?
Yeah!
Check out the view. Beautiful view. It's 6:30. The sun's just cutting through the clouds. It's really a cool view, huh? Of course, you get to go 3 times around once I figured out how to make it go around. So from here you can also see the 2 arenas in town, the T-Mobile and I forgot what the other one was called. One of them is home to the Sounders and the other one's home to the Seahawks. So we jumped across the street to the lodge here, across from our hotel. I got a Cuban, it looks wonderful. Chris got the house burger. Looks pretty tasty, but we're gonna hurry up and eat and get out of here. We gotta go catch our flight.